right, fire it up. Just do your thing here, bud. Nobody's any better at this than you are. Have fun, take a deep breath. Give them hell at the end. Good luck to you. Fight like hell like we do every week. You are the best here. Brett, be affirmative. You told me to get on. Info. Ready. Ready. Go slow. Green, green, green. Lock it down, lock it down. I'm destroyed, and I just got drove through like 6 times on the 14th. So, excuse me, thank you. That is the stupidest thing I've seen in my career. Literally.
Everything you described is accurate.
Haven't even finished the second stage yet. Half the field's wrecked.
Hell yeah. 11 got it.
Proud of you there, Mac. Good job, pal. Thanks, man. Good job all day.
Great work, my man. Great work. Keep putting yourself in position. We'll win our share, right? We got one back today, brother. Good job.
Therefore, great job, guys.
Hey, welcome back to Racing in the Draft. My name is Mark, and welcome back to a new year. Happy New Year, 2022. And it's crazy the stuff that has happened this offseason. Anything from next-gen cars to drivers switching teams to some teams not being around to drivers not being around to drivers moving to the truck or Xfinity series to charters being sold to this next-gen car with single lug nuts and 5 gears and all sorts of craziness. Honestly, it's going to be an awesome year. I'm excited. They have practiced and worked on this car all off season. And I think what they finally have is probably going to be a car that is going to really be fun for the drivers. It's going to be really cool for us to watch. I think the Grand Experiment is going to probably work out really well. They're going to have some bumps in the road, don't get me wrong. But I think all in all, I think this car is going to be really good for NASCAR. It's going to level the playing field. Your big teams that have always been the big teams are still going to be the ones that we're going to target for dominators. But I think your middle of the pack to back of the pack drivers that we would not target at all last year or years prior are going to be guys that we can look at and potentially target this year. We're going to see really cool things as long as the supply chain can keep up with these guys potentially destroying cars. Yeah, there's a supply chain for everybody, including the NASCAR teams. Most teams have at least 2 cars. Well, most teams are bringing a car to LA to the Coliseum. If they do what they think that I think they're going to do, they're going to probably end up tearing up some cars. Turn around, and in a 2-week period of time, they're going to go to Daytona, and they're going to tear up some cars there too, from the qualifying races to potentially even the big ones happen. The big one typically happens on the super speedways. Can't call them restrictor plates anymore because they've fixed that. So it's now called super speedway racing, which it was in the past, but that's a whole nother story. But typically the big one happens, and I expect the big one to happen again this year. So you tear up a car here at LA, then you go and tear one up at the qualifying race, you're going to potentially have yourself behind the 8 ball real fast, especially if you end up in the big one at the Daytona 500. Going back out to LA to Fontana on the West Coast swing with 2 damaged cars and nothing in your inventory, I don't know what they're going to do. But I know there's a lot of talk about teams sharing and helping each other out to get through the supply chain issues that they're having. But all in all, I mean, if they can get enough inventory of cars, this season's going to be really, really cool, and I'm really excited for it. So let's kind of get into the real reason he came, and that is the Busch Light Clash at the Coliseum. So they spent probably about a month and a half kind of getting this track, what used to be a football stadium / Olympic venue, prepared to race 23 cars on a quarter-mile track in the middle of this thing. Kind of like when Virginia Tech played Tennessee inside Bristol, they got rid of they didn't get rid of the racetrack, but they put a bunch of dirt down in the middle of Bristol and built a football field. We're going the opposite way. We're taking away the football field and putting in a quarter-mile little short track. It's going to be interesting. A lot of beating and banging here. I have tried this on iRacing, and it, to say the least, did not go well for me, at least. The guys that ran well know how to run this track, so I expect, since these guys are professionals, to probably put on one heck of a great race. No pit stops. All the haulers will be outside. The teams will have one or two guys there on pit road to fix a flat tire. They're not changing tires. It's going to be really cool to watch. It's going to be a lot of fun. This year we've got practice and qualifying and racing back. We'll get into the details of heat races for this particular race. All right, we are at the Busch Light Clash at the LA Coliseum. This is a short and flat track with a race length of 0.25 miles and whopping 2 degrees in the turn. Why they even put any banking on this thing, I don't know. Other than they had to put some on because it was going to rain and they needed, I don't know. Either way, 2 degrees in the turn. Race length is 150 laps. Dominator points are 105, not many. Consisting of 37.5 laps led and 67.5 fast laps. Dominators are not going to be something that we're interested in this weekend. I don't foresee, I mean, maybe somebody goes out and leads the most laps or leads 150 laps, but I just don't see it. Somebody's going to dump the leader at some point. So even if they dominate, they're going to lose too many other points by being dumped. But either way, Dominators are not going to be something we're really interested in here. We're looking more at finishing position and place differential. It's going to be the two key things that we're looking for. So let's kind of break down how this Clash format is going to work. We'll kind of break each one of these levels down. On Saturday, they're doing qualifying, and then on Sunday are the heat races, last chance races, and the Clash. So on Saturday, they'll have practice, and then each car will go out and run a qualifying lap. And 2 laps, fastest lap, whoever is the highest gets to start first. Whoever's second starts first in the second heat race. Whoever is third in qualifying will start first in the third heat race, and so on. So we're going to have 10 drivers in each heat race, with the top 4 moving on to the 150 lap Clash. If you don't make it there, you'll move to the last chance race, which the top 3 from each of the last chance race will move on, giving us 22 cars that will race their way into the Clash. Then there's 1 spot left, and this is why Kyle Larson is guaranteed to race in the Clash, because he finished first in the championship on last year. So as you can see over to the right, 23rd is the 2001 points provisional. So let's say Kyle Larson wins his heat race and gets moved into here. Well, then it falls to whoever was second in points last year, third in points, fourth in points, and it keeps going on. So literally the 15th place person in points last year could end up taking this 2001 points provisional. Hopefully that makes sense. And that's all we're concerned about. Other than getting data and information on how well these guys are racing in the heat races and the last chance qualifiers, and knowing where the starting spots are, we're not concerned with the other prior stuff. This is what we're concerned about when we're setting our lineups and we're looking for potential cars to come from the back to give us place differentials, or starting up front that potentially have a good chance of finishing further up front. But I'm telling you, these cars, within typically 15 to 20 laps at a Bristol or a Martinsville that are half miles, those guys are starting to lap cars in 20 laps. They're going to start lapping cars here in 8 to 10 laps, if not faster. That's why you can't have 40 cars on this track. So 23 cars are going to take the field. We're more concerned about where they're going to get locked in at, and then we'll set our lineups. Do not make lineups and put money on this thing and not set your lineups until you find out who all the 23 are and where they're starting. Your better chance of going and playing the Mega Millions than trying to figure that out without knowing who's actually in the race. Because 40 cars, you could literally start Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin wrecks himself out of the first heat race and is done. Well, he doesn't make the race, and you picked him in your lineup. So you want to wait till we know who all the 23 drivers are for the actual clash. So with that being said, we don't have any data on this. They've never raced on a little quarter-mile track, at least no time in the last modern era. So we don't have any information on a quarter-mile track. We don't have any information on this next-gen car. So how are we setting lineups? It's kind of a shot in the dark. At least it's going to be that way for the first few weeks. So until we get some data on who's driving these cars and understands the setup of these cars, it's going to be a little bit of a crapshoot until probably we get around to 5th, 6th race of the year. So it's going to be a little bit of a crapshoot, but let's kind of take a look. So with this, when I was compiling all my numbers and how well these guys run, this is the breakdown of the tracks I looked at. I looked at Martinsville, New Hampshire, Phoenix, Nashville, and Richmond. Yes, Nashville, 1.3 miles, but it races so much like a short track. So to get our comparison, those are the 5 tracks that I used to find out our comparison. So the real reason he came, let's break these drivers down one by one. So our DraftKings pricing, of course, starts at the top. Kyle Larson, he's guaranteed to be in the race. Why wouldn't he be? He's the reigning champion of our sport. No reason for him not to be the most expensive driver in the field. And as you can see, they also slid the number from the middle of the door to the front of the door, which gives a bigger area for sponsors to put their sponsorship there. Kyle Larson in the last 5 short tracks, the tracks we just talked about, has 2 wins, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, and 5 top 20s with a 74.5 DraftKings average and an 8.2 average finish. He has raced a total of 8 times on those tracks in the last 2 years, with an 8.2, with 2 wins, 3 top 5s, 6 top 10s, and all 8 times in the top 20. Next in line at 9,800, Denny Hamlin. As you can see, we have a question mark on their starting spots because we don't know. Once again, you gotta wait till they finish doing all of their heat races and last chance qualifiers. Try not to repeat that too many times. But Denny Hamlin, 9,800, 3rd on the power ranking. Does not have a win on any of these short tracks that are in what we're looking at, but does have 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, and 3 top 20s with a 57.1 DraftKings average and a 12.2 average finish. Has raced in all 10 in the last 2 years and has 7 top 5s, 8 top 10s, and 8 top 20s. Denny Hamlin's really good at short track racing. He grew up on short tracks here in Virginia and should do very well at this style track. So Denny Hamlin definitely is one to, if he makes the race, would be one to kind of keep an eye on. Here's actually my favorite for the weekend would be Martin Truex Jr. Depending on where he qualifies at, I will have a decent amount of Martin Truex Jr. He just is become really good at short track racing. And after watching the eSports or eNASCAR race earlier this week, those guys all raced at the virtual LA Coliseum. And a lot of them said it really felt like a road course on how you handled the car and how it handled in the corners. Keep that in mind. I did not put that into my algorithm when I was looking at it, but Martin Truex Jr. is really good at road courses and he's really good at short tracks. He's my pick this week. If you're gonna go bet some money, I'd go put a few dollars on Martin Truex Jr. If he doesn't win, don't blame me though. This thing's a crapshoot. But Martin Truex Jr. 9,500, second on the power ranking. Doesn't have a win in the last 5 at short tracks, but has 3 top 5s, 3 top 10s, 4 top 20s, a 59.3 DraftKings average, a 9.2 average finish. In the last 10, he's got 3 wins, 7 top 5s, 8 top 10s, and 9 top 20s. He's really good at road course, or at short tracks. Next in line, Chase Elliott, another good road course racer and pretty good at the short tracks. 9,200, 4th on the power ranking. And the last 5 starts at the tracks that we're comparing. 1 top 5, 1 top 10, 5 top 20s, a 58.6 DraftKings average, and a 12.8 average finish. Does have 1 win in the last 10 with 5 top 10s, 5 top 5s, 6 top 10s, and 10 top 20s. Next in line, Kyle Busch, 9,000, 13th on the power ranking. Short tracks are not his cup of tea, and neither are road courses. So he's much better at the mile, mile and a half, 2 mile type track. Now Kyle could also, he has had moments where he's been very good on short tracks. And he's not bad. Don't get me wrong. He's still Kyle Busch, but has 1 top 5, 3 top 10s, and 4 top 20s in the last 5. 27.6 DraftKings average with a 13th place average finish. And in the last 10, that's not right. He does not have 25 top 20s in the last, whatever. We're not going to talk about it. The last 5 is really what we're looking at. Next grouping here, we've got Joey Logano, 8,800, 5th on the power ranking. And in the last 5, he's got 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, and 5 top 20s, a 42.5 DraftKings average, and a 7.6 average finish. And out of the last 10, he's finished in the top 20 every time. So, in the last 5, he's finished in the top 20. So, Joey Logano is also another really good short track racer. Not quite as good on road courses, but he's really good at short tracks, like Martinsville and types. All right, next in line here, we've got Ryan Blaney, 8,500, 11th on the power ranking. And in the last 5 short tracks, he has finished in the top 5 twice, top 10 2 times, and the top 24 times. 32.0 DraftKings average, a 13.8 average finish. And looking at his last 10 starts on short tracks, he does have 2 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and top 20s. Next in line, William Byron, 8,300, in 17th on the power ranking. 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, and 4 top 20s in the last 5. 32.7 DraftKings average and a 10.6 average finish. And has, in the last 10, 3 top 5s, 6 top 10s, and 9 top 20s. Kevin Harvick, $8,000. And he, in the last 5 short tracks, has 1 top 5, 3 top 10s, and 4 top 20s, 42.7 DraftKings average, and 11.0 average finish. And in the last 10, he's got 2 top 5s, 8 top 10s, and 9 top 20s. Brad Keselowski, one of the drivers who moved teams completely, went over to Roush Fenway Keselowski, RFK? Yeah, Roush Fenway Keselowski is now the name of the team. But Brad is starting at 7,800 and 7th on the power ranking. 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, and 4 top 20s in the last 5 starts on short course racing. 43.7 DraftKings average and a 10.8 average finish. And has 1 win in the last 10 on short tracks with 5 top 10s, or 5 top 5s, 6 top 10s, and 20s. Alright, our next grouping here, Kurt Busch, 7,600. And Power ranking of 15th. Kurt's another one who moved teams. He went over to join Bubba Wallace at 2311 with Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan's team. So nice new ride there. Same sponsor, new number. But Kurt, 7,600 in the last 5 short tracks. He has no top 5s, but 2 top 10s, 5 top 20s, a 35.6 DraftKings average, and a 12.0 average finish. And 8 times in the top 20 in the last 10 races. Alex Bowman, 7,400. 8th on the power ranking. Does have 2 wins out of the last 5 short tracks, one being Richmond and one being Martinsville. So Alex Bowman's Kings average and an 8.8 average finish. Austin Cindric, 7,100. Power ranking of 27th. Austin's not the best on short tracks. He's not bad, but he's also brand new to the Cup Series. He did race a few times last year in the Cup, so we don't have a whole lot of stats for him. He did make one start where he finished 28th on a short track and a 24.9 DraftKings average. Not even an average, but 24.9 in that race. So I don't know, I'm clueless when it comes to Austin until we get some more data on him. He, finished second in the Xfinity Championship last year and won the Xfinity Championship the year prior to that. So, all right, next in line here, AJ Allmendinger, 6,900. We don't have any stats on AJ because he didn't race any short tracks in the last 2 years in the Cup Series. In fact, it's been like 5 years since he raced on short track in the Cup cars. He's been doing a lot in the Xfinity Series, and he's really, really good at road courses. Did take the win at Indianapolis last year. Power ranking of 10 because of his experience at road courses. For this one, I kind of had to figure out where I think AJ's going to go. AJ's also my pick at 80-1 to win the race. So go throw $1 on him and make $80 if he wins. I mean, I might throw more than that at it, but yeah, I mean, you throw it 10, you can win 800. I might throw $10 on it and see if I can win $800. So AJ's my pick to be the absolute outside shot to win this thing and win people a lot of money. They actually bet on it. Next in line here, we've got Christopher Bell, 6,800. 14th on the power ranking, and in the last 5 starts at road courses, he's got 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, and 5 top 20s, a 43.0 DraftKings average, and an 8.2 average finish. Our next grouping here, we've got Tyler Reddick, 6,700. 18th on the power ranking, and only has 5 top 20s. Not finished in the top 10 at any short tracks in the last 5, with a 25.0 DraftKings average and a 17.8 finish. Next, we've got Eric Almirola, who finished first at New Hampshire last year, one of the tracks that we aired. At 6,500, he's 5th on the power ranking. He actually does really well at short tracks, with the 1 win, 2 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and 5 top 20s, 59.2 DraftKings average, and a 4.6 average finish. Woo! That's the best of the best right there. So, take a little bit of Erik Almirola this weekend. Let's see where he finishes and gets qualified for this Clash race. Then we'll make that decision. Next is Ross Chastain, 6,300. 12th on the power ranking, and in the last 5 starts on short tracks, has 1 top 10, 5 top 20s, a 35.0 DraftKings average, and a 13.4 average finish. Alright, our next grouping here, we've got our next driver, Austin Dillon, 6,200. 16th on the power ranking, has only 3 top 20s, no top 10s and no top 5s, but a 20.9 DraftKings average and a 19.2 average finish. Not the best on short tracks. Not awful, but not very good. Next in line here, we've got Bubba Wallace at 6,100, who's coming off of fairly major shoulder surgery. Finally got in to test the car, the final test at Phoenix. He says his shoulder feels great, so shouldn't be too much of a worry there. But Bubba Wallace is also not the best at short tracks, with no top 20s, 10s, or 5s. 7.8 DraftKings average and a 27.4 average finish. Like Kurt Busch can kind of help him out learning how to race short tracks. He does have a win at Martinsville in the Truck Series. He's not awful. He's also a NASCAR Cup driver who won a race last year. Pretty good driver. All right, next grouping here, we've got Erik Jones at $6,000, 25th on the power ranking, and out of the last 5 starts on short check, he's got a 1 top 10, 4 top 20s, a 31.4 DraftKings average, and a 17.6 average finish. Daniel Suarez, next in line, 5,900, 23rd on the power ranking, and last 5 starts, he's got 1 top 10, 3 top 20s, 29.6 DraftKings average, and an 18.4 average finish. Next in line, Cole Custer, 5,800, 24th on the power ranking, only has 2 top 20s, an 18.0 DraftKings average, and a 20.8 average finish. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 5,700, 20th on the power ranking, does have 1 top 10 in the last 5 starts, along with 4 top 20s. Look at that Slim Jim car. Good to see Slim Jim back in the sport. But Ricky Stenhouse has a 30.3 DraftKings average and an 18.6 average finish. Next in line, another new driver. He took over for Matt DiBenedetto, who is now going to be a full-time truck driver. But Harrison's moving up from the Xfinity Series, so we don't have any stats from Mr. Harrison Burton, at least on short tracks in the Cup car. He did have 1 start, I think, last year in the Cup Series. So, 33rd on the power ranking. Don't know what to tell you about Harrison, other than he's a pretty good little race car driver, but don't have any information on Cup Series. So we'll see how he does this year. I know he's going to be in Penske-powered equipment with a really good, iconic team, so he should do fairly well. But he's going to need to find his footing in the Cup Series. Next in line, Corey LaJoie at 5,500, 26 on the power ranking. 1 top 20 in the last 5 starts, 24.6 DraftKings average, and a 22.6 average finish. Chase Briscoe, 5,400, 21st on the power ranking. Only raced full-time last year, was his first full-time season. Had a 7.7 DraftKings average and a 27.6 average finish. A lot of his stats were just kind of mangled because of other people's issues. There are going to be a lot of other people's issues this weekend, is my feeling. But I think Chase Briscoe may end up doing fairly well. But we'll see. Next in line here, we've got Justin Haley in a new car with Colleague Racing and their first full-time season in Cup Series. They did buy 2 charters earlier this year and are going to go full-time with 31 car and Justin Haley full-time, and then the 16 car will be a mixed match between AJ Allmendinger, Noah Gragson, and Daniel Hemrick. You'll see Daniel Hemrick up next week for the Daytona 500. 2 weeks for 500. Next here, Ryan Preece at 5,200. Ryan moved to a development test practice driver for Stuart Haas. My guess he'll probably take over the 10 ride next year when Eric Almirola decides to retire. But this weekend he will be in the 15 car for Rick Ware, because of this is all based on last year's stats and information. Because he qualified, Rick Ware put him in the car. But on short tracks, he has 1 top 20, a 12.7 DraftKings average, and a 28.0 average finish, 29th in the power ranking. Chris Buescher, 5,100, and 28th on the power ranking, and only has 1 top 10, 1 top 20, a 10.0 DraftKings average, and a 25th place average finish. Chris Buescher is much better on the 1.5 mile style track. Landon Castle. Not going to hear that name much here, other than he's going to race full-time in the Xfinity Series for Colleague, is racing the 77. for this weekend. Don't have any information on him. Hasn't raced a Cup car. Well, he did finish 20th in one of the races last year. I think it was Talladega. But either way, Landon, we don't have any short track information in the Cup car on Landon. So he's 33rd in the power ranking. See if he makes the race. Might be somebody to take us a long shot from the rear. We'll see. Next in the line here, Ty Dillon. Ty Dillon's back. After a year off from Cup Series racing, he is back with Richard Petty Motorsports at 4,900 and the number 42 car. Good to see the 42 car back. 31st on the power ranking. Won't have much information to tell you about Ty. So we'll see what Ty can do this year at the Cup Series. Michael McDowell, 4,800. The only car I don't have a picture with the moved up number because they haven't released one yet. They're racing this weekend. I guess we'll see it when it hits the track. But 30th on the power ranking. Michael's decent on road courses, but not very good on short tracks. No top 20s at all. 18.0 DraftKings average and 23.8 average finish. Next, a newcomer to the sport, kind of like Harrison Burton, Todd Gilliland, making the jump all the way from trucks into the Cup Series. 4,700, taking over the ride for Anthony Alfredo. 19th on the power ranking. I had to put him somewhere, and he's actually really good at short tracks. So, I don't know. The 19th power ranking is kind of a guess on my part. Don't have any stats on him. Next in line, BJ McLeod, driving for himself at 4,600. No top 20s last year. 35th on the power ranking. 15.0 DraftKings average and a 29.4 average finish. Remember, he was racing old beat-up equipment last year. This is going to be one of those cars that I go, he potentially could have a good ride. He's a decent race car driver, but just has always raced in old equipment. What I mean by that is, so last year he would buy stuff from Hendrick or not Ford. So he'd buy a Penske used race car that maybe Brad Keselowski raced 2 years ago, and he would race that. So it didn't have all the new fancy dancy stuff. He was racing with old equipment. So maybe this year he might be one of those that could come up and surprise us. Hard to say. All right, next in line, Cody Ware and the last Rick Ware Racing. This could be another guy that could surprise us. $4,500. He's the cheapest on the grid. 32nd on the power ranking. And in 4 starts on short tracks last year, he had no top 20s at 12.1 DraftKings average and a 31.3 average finish. That's all I got. Thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit, but I don't have any other stats or information. I mean, we're kind of going blind in the dark here, so make sure you watch practice, qualifying, the heat races, and the last chance qualifiers before making any type of choice or decisions. I don't think there's going to be time between the last chance qualifier and the race for me to come back on live to give you a lock before lineups for the start. So what you're really going to be going after, you're going to be going after guys that may have performed well in qualifying, and may have had some bad luck and didn't tear their race car up too much in their heat race and just got in on the last chance qualifier. So maybe any of the guys that practiced and qualified well but had some bad luck in their heat race and then come out and finish top 3 of the last chance qualifier might be some of the guys we need to target for place differentials. For finishing order, we're really going to be looking at those top 5 guys: Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano. Those are going to be the guys that we need to probably target to finish in the top 5. There's going to be 1 or 2 that are going to sneak in, but you know, I always make multiple lineups, and I will have a decent amount of Denny, Truex, Kyle Larson, Joey, and Chase Elliott. So with that being said, welcome back to 2022 year. It's going to be an exciting year. I plan on having videos out prior to practice and qualifying to kind of give you an idea of what to expect. And then I plan on doing a Sunday morning live video to go over what happened in practice, what happened in qualifying compared to what their data of previous racing was at those particular tracks, and kind of give you a clue into who to take for place differentials and those types of things. So stay with me. I should be doing 2 videos a week, one before practice and qualifying, and then one post practice and qualifying, live before they lock up and go racing. So looks like it's going to be a busy year. I'm excited to hang out with you for another year. I appreciate everybody. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, and check me out again. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the race this weekend. It's going to be historical. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Get a good deep breath. Get ready to roll here. Only about one thing tonight, getting the W, so got to be around at the end to do that.
Get ready to roll tonight, boys. Let's go have some fun.
Don't get me any more fired up than I already am. All the way to the checker. You're fine. Nobody's got to run. Checker time, baby!
Hell yeah.
Proud of you there, Matt. Good job, pal. Thanks, man. Good job all day.
Great work, my man. Great work. Keep putting yourself in position. We'll win our share, right? We got one back today, brother. Good job.
10-4, great job, guys.
Excellent work, my man. Excellent work. Thank you.
Man, that's awesome. Set out with a goal and got it here, bud. Thank you very much.
Really proud of you, man. Drove your butt off tonight. We had the fastest car here, bud.
Probably killed our deal there. Just feel like I gave one away.
Yeah, boys. Way to rebound. Great job.
Great job, bud. Really good job. Appreciate you hanging in there with us all weekend.
What a weekend. Good job. Thank you.